Right now, massive commercial oil tankers are sitting dead in the water, and major city grids are going dark. This severe global energy shortage traces directly back to a single breakdown: the sudden collapse of the 2024 Middle East ceasefire in late February 2026. On February 28th, a joint US and Israeli military operation targeted and killed Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Eliminating a head of state bypasses the usual network of proxy groups and strikes the direct core of a government. It forces an immediate, direct response from the targeted nation, turning a localized standoff into a multi-front regional war. The immediate fallout hit the Israel-Lebanon border. Hezbollah launched retaliatory strikes into northern Israel, officially shattering the fragile truce that had held since 2024. Israel responded with a heavy counter-bombardment of Beirut. The strikes displaced nearly 1 million Lebanese civilians, roughly 20% of the country's population. By mid-March, the strategy shifted from aerial strikes to a full-scale ground invasion into southern Lebanon. The military objective was carving out a physical security buffer. Israeli forces occupied territory and destroyed infrastructure all the way to the Litani River. The physical invasion deepened, and the combat could not be isolated to the border. As the kinetic fighting expanded, both sides began targeting the economic engines powering the opposing states. To restrict Iran's ability to fund its military response, the US and Israel shifted their crosshairs from military outposts to Iran's primary economic revenue sources. On March 18th, a massive joint airstrike hit the South Pars gas field, the largest natural gas field in the world, and the Asaluye petrochemical refineries. This chart tracks Iran's energy output. The drop represents a 12% loss of natural gas capacity. In retaliation, Iran blockaded the Strait of Hormuz. Ship transits plummeted 97%, while global Brent crude oil prices spiked over $100 a barrel. By cutting off access to roughly a third of global tanker demand, a localized retaliation physically restricts the fuel required to run economies worldwide, taking the global energy supply hostage. Iran then expanded the geographic scope, launching ballistic missiles at US-allied Gulf states and hitting targets in Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates. Simultaneously, they launched a coordinated missile barrage aimed directly at Israeli civilian and military population centers. One missile, carrying a 220-pound warhead, slipped through the air defense grid and detonated in the streets of Tel Aviv, gutting buildings and injuring civilians. Another barrage struck the town of Dimona. This location hosts the facility widely believed to contain the Middle East's sole unacknowledged nuclear arsenal. Striking within range of an atomic reactor forces the targeted nation to interpret the attack as an existential threat. It removes the standard constraints of conventional deterrence, opening the door to maximum retaliation. As the physical missile strikes continue, a completely separate, contradictory battle is playing out in public statements. US President Donald Trump publicly asserted that very strong talks were already in progress, resulting in a temporary halt on planned strikes against Iranian power grids. Iranian state media and government spokespeople immediately denied this. They explicitly stated no direct communications were taking place with the United States. Behind the scenes, however, a shadow diplomatic channel has opened. US envoys and Iranian representatives are passing proposals through mediators stationed in Islamabad, Pakistan. With missiles still launching while back-channel mediators trade terms, the financial and energy markets have no reliable data to price in. The result is total economic volatility. Countries far removed from the actual fighting are already absorbing the shock. The Philippines, heavily dependent on imported fuel, was forced to declare a national energy emergency to combat hoarding and stabilize prices. Anticipating that the fragile peace talks may fail, the United States escalated its military posture by deploying marine amphibious ships to the region. Amphibious ships are specialized naval vessels designed to project ground troops and equipment directly onto hostile shores. On the ground, Israeli troops are entrenching their positions along the Litani River, and Iranian missile silos remain on high alert. The only counterweight to this physical military buildup is the unverified progress of the Islamabad negotiations. The global economy is now suspended between two extremes. It is pinned down by a localized war that restricts international energy, waiting on a peace deal that neither side will publicly admit exists. Until one side breaks the physical stalemate or publicly signs a deal, the pressure will only continue to build.